Are there switchheads? My name's Kanan and welcome to my review of Loud. Rhythm-based games are not my forte, although I did own and love my Guitar Hero back in the day. And before we get to any of that, subscribe to the channel for more weekly reviews and sales videos, and also like this video, well, if you've enjoyed yourself here. So pick up that broom or mop, or indeed just use one of them air guitar thingamajigs. Let's get started. Engage. And before we get properly started, I'm just going to say now that this is a kind of unscripted version. I have the code, I've played the game, it's just that for personal reasons I haven't been able to write a script or anything, but I do want to cover this as a review.
Story.
Astrid is a young lady who's fed up with this growing up lark, as we all were. She, as like many teens in the day, dreamed of being a rock and roll star. And so in her own room, again like many of us did, we sort of like pretended to be said stars. And as such, you basically have to climb your way out of your bedroom from, not literally, from that state and form a band and find a manager and become a star. Easy, eh? Well, let's find out, shall we?
Controls.
I do actually like the idea of these controls, using the buttons on both sides of the controller to hit your beats. It does actually work quite well, if not a bit fumbly to start with. In fact, sometimes my brain just forgets about certain fingers that I have, weirdly enough, and I forget to hit them or I hit the wrong one. But I guess that's part of the skill of the game.
Gameplay.
Okay, so basically you're moving around these different like areas, if you like, playing and not playing to certain songs. They are kind of interesting songs. I wouldn't really call them rock, but I suppose they are more for teenagers rather than someone in their 40s. So anyway, like most games like this, you have, instead of like a cascading like Guitar Hero, the things coming towards you, they're coming from both sides. Yes, both sides. This is kind of like what threw me through a loop actually. And whilst playing your guitar, in air quotes, they come from 3 different directions, and obviously it's up to you to press in the actual direction or the actual buttons that coincide with those directions. As well as collecting stars, you also collect the wow ones, which you can actually just hold your finger on and then shake one of the thumbsticks. And then there's one where you're kind of like tapping the button for how long it actually lasts for. And then these like almost greeny gold stars that come up as well, which I believe are more points when you hit them correctly. Add to all of this the score multiplier, and yeah, you kind of like see where it's going. The game works on a 3 strikes and you're out, depending on which of the 3 difficulties you're actually playing in. Depends on how lenient they actually are on you, but you'll be definitely trying to hit all those actual score streaks. I felt the game did have a slight hook to it and did actually keep me coming back. It's just the fact that, I don't know, I didn't gel too well with any of the music songs, which was a bit of a pity. The responses that the girl gives was a bit irritating after a while. Once you've heard her say one set of them, that was pretty well it. And it kind of, I don't know, it started to really grate and annoy me. And I also kind of felt, weirdly enough, that the music sometimes didn't feel like it was what was happening on the screen, if that makes sense. The button presses and all just didn't feel like it was corresponding with the music that was playing. And it kind of like made it feel ever so disjointed at times. The other thing that I kind of liked and disliked all at the same time was the unlocking of the outfits and guitars. I thought it was cool, the fact that as you progress through these different areas that look different, you can also yourself look different with a guitar. But it kind of like, I would have preferred to have to earn these things instead of almost like just being given them because you've completed a section or something. On the plus side, I did actually enjoy the voice acting, which is pretty cool, and the cutscenes, those still little image things. I always like them, especially when they're voiced. It just adds a little layer of, I don't know, something I like, to be honest with you.
Visuals and sound.
Okay, so as I just said, it's voiced, which is just anything like this, anything that can be voiced is a must for me, because I really do enjoy things being voiced. And this was it wasn't the best voiceovers and all that I've heard, but it was pretty decent, and at no point did I start cringing or anything. It was a pretty decent effort by the people that voiced it, which is a good thing. Also, those cutscenes, as I said, I mean, they were pretty good. The actual places that you go kind of like repeated over and over again, which was a shame, because I would have liked, I don't know, something like different angles on your room or outside or something like that. It just would have added a little bit more to it. There are other sounds as well as the voiceover, and it's just not really that great. It's kind of like forgettable. The actual responses that you have when you hit notes and everything really well are kind of like, I don't know, they're just repeated, and as I said before, it just becomes grating and annoying.
They're good.
The voiceover, the gameplay in general is actually quite decent. They're kind of like almost different gameplay with both sides being used. I quite like that. And obviously those cutscenes, as well as I didn't think they were like the best thing I've ever experienced, I do like that sort of cutscene.
The bad.
The samey responses really didn't do it for me and kind of like annoyed me. This definitely had its target audience, and I don't think I was it. And I felt the songs were very hit and miss.
The score.
Whilst I did enjoy Loud, I still have this niggling feeling it wasn't made entirely for someone that's in their mid-late 40s, and as such, I think I didn't get as much out of this as I would if I was someone that was a teenager, which I definitely think is who their target audience is. I definitely think this game has potential, and I would like to see a, I don't know, more targeted version towards me version of it, and I think I'd quite happily play it. I think for someone that actually wants a Guitar Hero type experience, this will kind of give you it, and it won't, because I don't know, you just don't feel like you're playing a guitar because of the way they've done it. But I think it's a good experience anyway. But as I said, it also won't appeal to everybody. So I'm going to give Loud a 3 out of 5. I think the potential here is immense, and I think that they can target this to all sorts of audiences, and I think a lot of people will enjoy this if it's, into their genre of music.
The alternative.
And I think if you actually want to learn to play a guitar yourself properly, well, I would just get lessons. But if you want to do it for a lot cheaper and, maybe not actually be able to play a real guitar, but Guitar is on Nintendo Switch, and it basically kind of teaches you kind of how to play a guitar. Obviously not for real, but it might be a good little experience. It's only cheap, and you can learn to play actual songs on it. I don't know, it might be good for youngsters to learn, or just to get into it, see if they actually like the guitar in a cheaper way if you own a Nintendo Switch. And with that, I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different version of my reviews. And yeah, if you want to come back, then subscribe, and also if you did enjoy it, like it would be very useful. I also do sales videos as well as my reviews on a weekly basis, so that's worth coming back for. And feel free to come and see us in our community Switch Heads Discord, because life is better when we switch together.